Hello, I'm Judith. I'm a front-end developer here in Berlin. Oh no, there's a dog coming. And I'm working in this project I'm talking about like for a year now, but the project is going on for 2.5 years now. It's about one part of the project is about helping. The project is for an energy grid provider, and the energy grid provider E.ON has lets other company do like the digging for the electrical grid or connecting the houses. They hire other companies to do this, and in the past it was very difficult for the other companies to invoice E.ON, so they didn't work with them that often because they didn't like not getting paid that fast. So we helped them with our software system, which makes it very easy to invoice their material and services. And they have this one screen here where you can enter different invoicing positions, and then you can click on the button and they will receive an invoice, and then they can accept or reject it. And our designers, we are planning new features for this, but we also ask lots of the time like feedback to our current application. And what we heard a lot is, oh, we really, really want to print this screen. We want to see what we are sending them to make sure it also comes back like we send it to them. And some just like said, okay, we really want to print it, and some just printed it and it looked awful. Like this is how it would look if you just press print on the browser. There's like lots of not very useful information, and the information that they want is just like crammed into this corner, so it was not very, very ideal for them. So our designer came up with what we want to have, and we add a print button to the page, and then something like this is printed. He added like some header for their company. I replaced it with our header now, so and they wanted to have some information in the footer as well, and also on the sideboard. And so when we decided how to implement this story, we didn't make that good experience with PDF generators in the past, and also we at Futurice only have the front end, but the middleware is at another company. So if we would do it on the server, it would be like lots of communication back and forth. So we made the decision, well, they don't want a PDF, they actually just want to print it. So, and the browser can print, so why are we not using the print functionality of the browser to have the outcome that we want to have? So yeah, that's what we decided to do, and I took the task and I see what I could do. So the first challenge I identified with this template was the positions don't always fit on one page. Our designer was nice enough to also design it how it should look on continuous pages, and the design on the continuous pages had the repeating header. And he also said, okay, the table header should also be repeated, so the users know exactly which column is for on every page, so they don't have to flip that much. Yeah, he wanted to have the table header repeated. He wanted to have this stuff repeated. And he also wanted to have a page number that shows the current and the total page, so we can make sure nothing is lost there. So that was the 3 challenges that I identified when I started with the task. And so I started to Google, okay, what can I do about printing? And the first thing I learned was fixed elements are repeated at the same position on every page, which is great if you know and how to use it. It is not great if you don't know, and it leads to unwanted results. But in our case, we could solve our side problem very easily with fixed elements. We just added them to the page, and then they were just repeated whenever we wanted them to have. Nice. Then I tried the same with the header and the footer. Just make it fixed, have it repeated on every page. But that resulted in the browser didn't really know where the other content was. So the other content overlapped with my new header and footer. So just making those 2 elements fixed wasn't really the solution for my problem. The second thing I learned was the table header and footer are also repeated on every page. The table continues. So the table here I got for free, which I didn't have to change a single line of code to make this look as I wanted it to have. So that was really, really nice. And I thought, oh, well, I can also make like the whole thing a table, put the header and the footer there, and then all my content in the body of the table, and it will repeat on every page. I tried it. It looked super on the first page, yay. But on the last page, the table footers just showed up in the middle of the page. It's not where I wanted it to have. I wanted it also at the bottom on the very, very last page. And so I thought, well, I have now two approaches that kind of work half for what I wanted them to have. So I combined them. So I used a table header and footer to define just like some margins for the page and put all the content in the body. And then the actual content I put in the fixed element that I put on the bottom and the top of the page. So this worked very well for all pages that have full content. The content just fits nicely. And since on the last page there's actually no content in the footer, it's just invisible, and the fixed footer content just shows up very, very nicely. So at this point, I had 2 of my 3 challenges solved. The last one that remained, and they thought it would be the most simple one, and I was so wrong, it's the page numbers. Because when you start Googling CSS page numbers, you see a lot of cool stuff that is in the CSS specification. Like they define margins, areas for every page, and then you could just add page, the margin area, you can put the content in there. Super nice. You're probably wondering why I didn't use it for the things I did before, because that would be super obvious. Well, let me show you this. It's not supported in any browser. It's in the CSS specification, but it's not supported in any browser. I think it's supported in those kind of browsers that you use for ebooks, because they want page numbers, so they support it, but normal browsers just don't at the moment. And then another thing many people suggest when talking about page numbers is using CSS counters. They're like you can count occurrences of elements with them, and you can like use them for like headlines and stuff. Those work in every browser, but for printing we have the problem that the elements that we are repeating are not actually in the DOM multiple times. They're just the fixed element is in the DOM once, and when we click print, it's just repeated. Same with the table footer. So I tried many variations of these for a couple of days, and it didn't work anywhere. In Firefox, I got some results, but not consistently. So that also wasn't the good approach. So my third learning was there is just no out-of-the-box solution for page numbers. So I had to do what I really, really wanted to avoid to do. It's absolutely positioning all the page number elements on every page, which involved a lot of math to calculate how big your page is. The table header you also have to consider when you're counting the total pages. Yes, that's approximately the math that I used. If anybody's interested, I also have a code example for this. And then, when you have the number of pages, you just position an element on every page. That worked good, except, in Firefox. Because in Firefox, it only showed up on the first page perfectly fine, and then it didn't show up anywhere. And I looked why that is. I found a bug report. It's because Firefox positions the absolute elements, but they just continue to put them on the first page. No matter how many pages there are, they just are on the first page, but they are just not visible. And I don't know if some of you noticed, we can celebrate its 15th anniversary next week. just to put this into perspective, what happened, or what's also how the world was 15 years ago. Angela Merkel looked like this, and she wasn't Chancellor of Germany yet. One of my favorite movies was released, and now the actresses, they are way past high school. And for some reason, those guys were European champions. So yeah, 15 years ago, it's a long time, but this bug, it's just still existing. So we talked to our PO. We told him, well, we kind of have done everything we could do for Firefox. And we decided not to implement a solution for Firefox. If they want page numbers, they still have the option to just have the checkmark for the browser own checkmark. They won't look as good as the one our designers designed, but if they want just page numbers, they have it. So this is what I printed out yesterday from our application. It looks very similar to the design, which is good. And we rolled it out, and our users love it. Like, we really hit a nerve. We have like 240 daily users, but and we have 80 to 250 prints every day. So kind of like one print per user every day in our application. So it was a case of the user really know what they want and they will use the feature that they say they want to use. So I learned a lot about printing, doing this, and testing all the variants of page numbers there. And I thought, okay, that's nice knowledge. I probably never use it again. And then I was at home, and I found a piece of paper on my couch table, which looked like this. And it's about the boss of my boyfriend, she recommended him to go to some schooling. And if you look at the page, you can't really get any information what's actually on the print. It's just overlapped by the fixed sidebar. Yeah, you don't use fixed elements in your print. And then I realized, maybe people should know more about like how to optimize their pages for print, because if there's content on the page that's really worth printing, I guarantee you there's a person who will print it. So I went, and then I couldn't look away anymore. Like every time, like, when you want to open a file in Visual Studio Code, but you actually press Command P in your browser and you see what you get. Well, I couldn't look away anymore. So I wanted to print out I looked at, okay, I want to have some lyrics. Just print it out so I can hand them to other people. Well, that was the first side of it. And it was 23 pages, and I think the lyrics were just spread like randomly all over the thing, not very useful at all. Then I thought, okay, I work for this cool company. Maybe I should hang a job offer somewhere. Yes, that was the first page. There was also the second page that was blank. The third page was half blank and half the content just cut. I think we have some element that helps with scrolling that just ruins the whole printing experience. I will do a pull request at some point when I don't have to prepare this presentation for this. But yeah, and then I looked, then I thought about more content that I wanted to print. I thought, okay, Medium, well, they've tried that. They removed the header, which is really nice. Fortunately, like, they have this kind of advertisement for the premium service, which they don't remove from the printing, and also they have this fancy lazy loading of pictures that looks very shitty on print because the pictures are blurred. Then I went to the Washington Post, and that looked really good. First, I went to the page with an ad blocker, and I was amazed how well it looked. Well, the font was sometimes cut, but at least it was very clean. And then I went on the page without an ad block, and when I printed, this is not redacted by me or anything. This is the actual print. Instead of the ads, they just have a big white square with the word ad in the middle. It's just why? The people you're advertising don't really have a use, and I as a user also don't have a use of this. But I found also one really great example. If I want to know about this good movie, then I can just print out a Wikipedia page and read it on a plane. And they did removed all unnecessary content. Looks very good. So some people know how to do print. So, but why should we actually care about print? It's not just to make the user happy. Now, also, if we don't print unuseful content, we also save ink, and ink is like really expensive. It's more expensive than blood or oil. Or in the sense of sustainability, you don't waste paper on printing useless stuff. So printing is actually something we should care about. So what can we do in our websites that improve the print experience? We should focus on the content, and how we focus on the content, we hide the unimportant information. There are two ways to specify CSS rules for print. The one is at a media query with print, which is probably which is one that I prefer, because you can just easily put them in all your React components and stuff if you have the CSS very spread out. And there's also the possibility to just link a style sheet with the property print in your index HTML. So yeah, and you just hide everything that users are not generally interested in printing, like headers, footers, or you introduce a tag or a class that's called no print, and everything you just add the class to, it's just not printed. It's not that difficult. And yeah, what's on websites? There are links. Users can't click on links. Users have no benefit of having it in color, so make them black, underline them, and maybe add where the link is going after the link. So users can type the website there and have some useful information from the link. Yeah, that's just some examples. You can also, there's a long list of things you can do. If you have like a chart that has dark background on your website, but actually you wanted to have the other way around, there are some queries to just invert the colors, which are really, really great. Sometimes grid and flex layout are just looking shitty at print, so you should check those. And yeah, font sizes, just adjust them so they don't scream at you on paper. And if you want to test all these things without printing, because that would waste resources, you can, in Chrome and Firefox, there are some cool debugging options. In Chrome, it's hidden under rendering, and you can emulate CSS Reader and print, and then you see the website, how that would be printed. Yeah, you don't have pages and stuff, but you see the elements that are printed. And in Firefox, it's this paper icon that you can toggle next to the CSS classes, and then you also have a printed view of your web page. So yeah, we cannot stop people from printing, but we can make print a better experience with all these things. Thank you very much.